I'm so tired of my ex-husband's wife wanting to be my friend just because he cheated on us both. I don't understand why I'm in this situation, and honestly, I'm frustrated because even my own family tells me I'm the bad one here. I just need to vent, and I don't need any advice or someone telling me do this. I think you should tell her this, or I would write her this or that. More than 17 years ago, my ex-husband cheated on me with a woman I didn't know, but she knew me. He left me for her when our only daughter was a baby, and I just moved on with my life. I was never going to fight for a man who makes immature decisions without thinking about the consequences. He married that woman, and I continued with my life, preferring a healthy co-parenting situation for my daughter. He never showed remorse and even told me that our relationship was always a mistake and that she was the love of his life. That helped me realize he was a complete jerk, and I didn't need a man like that in my life. Now, he has cheated on her, and for some reason, this woman, who always had a cold and distant relationship with me, insists on talking to me every day. I found out about the infidelity from my daughter, who wasn't affected by it, so I didn't think much about it. The only thing that concerned me was whether he could continue having our daughter at his house on weekends as usual. But his wife started sending me messages explaining what happened when I never asked her to. In the past, I only spoke to her if her husband didn't respond to my texts about our daughter. It's obvious she needs someone to talk to, and even when I respond with short, dry answers, she still sends me long voice notes explaining everything. I get that she needs to vent about her husband's infidelity, but why me? I don't want to be rude, but I really don't care about how she or he feels. In one of her audios, she said, "You know how I feel now." Like, I guess? But that was 17 years ago. It's not the same. To be 100% honest, she can't compare her situation to mine at all. A woman who had just given birth and was told by her husband that he'd been cheating on her for a long time with another woman who wasn't boring in bed and knew how to appreciate him, versus a woman who knew her husband was unfaithful and chose to marry him anyway. Anyway, I've tried to ignore her as much as possible, but when I talk to my family or friends about it, most of them say things like, "Oh, but she must feel lonely. She wasn't to blame for being the other woman. I think you should be more empathetic. We all need someone to talk to," or my personal favorite, "She's not to blame for him being a cheater. You should understand her because she needs help." I understand that she isn't to blame and that he's the cheater, but she, a fully grown adult at the time, chose to marry a man she knew was cheating on his pregnant wife. So why should I be responsible for helping her when she never told me, "Hey, your husband is sleeping with me, and that's really messed up because he's married to you"? That's what I would have done if a married man had flirted with me. Now, if she didn't do any of that, why should I, as a feminist, feel obligated to be her friend? It doesn't make sense, and the worst part is that almost all the women around me tell me I should help her and listen to her, even though I don't want to or feel any empathy for her or for him. I think she and my ex knew exactly what they were getting into. I don't understand why I should be her free therapist now. Being cheated on is not my entire identity. I don't need to talk about it 24/7 with her. I've chosen to ignore her, and that's what I'm going to keep doing, even if it makes me a bad feminist for not feeling empathetic. Edit, no, I can't block her because she still lives with him, and I need her contact information in case of an emergency with my daughter. And honestly, it's strange how many people are commenting or even sending private messages telling me what I should say to her or writing what they think I should feel. I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm going to use a stranger's message, who doesn't know me or the whole situation, to communicate with someone. I feel like a lot of people in the comments are projecting their own experiences. Update, 13 days later. Hi, it's been a while since I posted, and I just wanted to give a little update for those who were worried. First of all, my mother was in a long-term relationship as the other woman during my teenage years and into adulthood. Their relationship lasted many years until he passed away, and I don't think his wife ever found out about the affair. That's why my mom manipulates me into not judging my ex's wife, saying no one chooses who they fall in love with. My mother has always seen herself in that woman, which is why she said that my ex-husband, his lover, now wife, were soulmates and that I shouldn't interfere. I was very young at the time, and my mother was the only one I could rely on for support. Well, narcissists always latch onto vulnerable people. Nowadays, I don't have much contact with her, but my daughter spends time with my family. As for my friends, I'm a feminist activist, and opinions about the other woman are mixed, especially among my more liberal friends. Often, judging the other woman is seen as misogynistic, with people saying they're single. It's the man who's at fault, and we need to show solidarity with other women. So, I expected that reaction from most of them. I agree with this in most cases, but not this one. I can feel empathy when the woman didn't know or was being groomed as a minor, but in this case, I don't feel any pity because she knew exactly what she was doing. Women can also be mean and cruel. Women can also choose to be the villains in a story without being manipulated because we are not weak, and my ex's wife is that kind of woman. No one forced her into anything. Sorry if that explanation was unnecessary, but there were people who didn't understand my family's and friends' behavior, and it feels good to vent. I ended up speaking with my ex's wife because, a few days ago, I had an incredibly stressful day, and the last thing I needed was to see her messages on WhatsApp. I exploded. I had planned to continue ignoring her, but that day, I was upset about work, and I ended up telling her everything. I sent her a voice note explaining that I am not interested in her life or her suffering. I told her that we are not friends, and I don't want to be. She never apologized to me, and now she expects me to bond with her over being cheated on by the same man. I said other things too, and while I wish I could post the voice notes here, they were over 5 minutes of me telling her that our situations are not the same. It was probably the greatest catharsis I've ever had. She got upset, and we argued. It was exhausting, and the last thing I want is conflict after 17 years of peaceful co-parenting. I know they won't get divorced, which means she'll remain in my life, so I sent my ex a message with one of her voice notes. I went through them all, and she never once apologized. Not that I need her apology, I don't care, but people asked. The messages were just complaints and attempts to have me join her in venting about him or being her unpaid therapist. I told my ex he needed to tell his wife to back off and see a therapist. He apologized and said they're working on their marriage, and she's still feeling angry and insecure, obviously. Since I went through the same thing, she felt we could bond over it. He mentioned that they started attending online workshops run by some couple teaching people how to get over infidelity. Sometimes I'm envious of people who can scam others so easily. I told him that I am not friends with her, and this is affecting our co-parenting. He needed to put a stop to it if she didn't understand my words. He reluctantly agreed to speak to her, and I've gone 3 days without hearing from her, except for a message today telling me that my daughter was asleep at their house. I guess it worked. I don't care whether they have a happy or miserable marriage. I don't care if she's happy knowing he cheated on her but stayed. I just want to live in peace without dealing with people in their 40s who still act like they're in high school.